sliceofscifi.com.
Hey, it's Jeffrey with Slice of SciFi. A very special report for you today. I am with Thomas Jane and Tim Bradstreet of Raw Studios. We're going to learn all about Raw Studios today. All right, so right before we started recording, we were getting set up here, and you guys were back there. You were going through a whole book full of guns, and you were the period pieces, and you were being very specific about what you were looking for. Mm-hmm. Can I ask for a little deeper behind the scenes at Raw Studios? What were you guys looking at? Why were you playing with that? And you're toting.
Well, I'm practicing. Yeah, I'm actually talking to a bunch of gun guys, and we've got some different stuff going on. But I'm actually, Tim and I are preparing to do a Western next year. Raw Studios is going to do a Western. We're going to shoot it in Monument Valley, and we are talking to a bunch of terrific actors right now. And it's a script that I've been working on for quite a while. And we've just got financed, so we've got an April start date, and we're looking at how do we bring something that's unique and yet iconic to the Western genre. What I don't like is when people try to stick a square peg into a round, nice Western. I want to.
Like, let's try to reinvent it, but failing miserably.
Yeah, I mean, there was that Western that came out that had rock and roll music in it, and that failed miserably. And there's limits to what you can do within the confines of a good genre, unless it's science fiction, then there are no limits. But in the Western,
Cowboys and Aliens.
In the Western,
you still have to make a good product.
Almost killed us. Yeah. And almost single-handedly killed.
Regardless of the names involved, you still have to have a good product, something to build on there. And maybe if they'd have gone back to the source material that was based upon, or where the idea came from, maybe they'd have had something there. But I don't know. I think that's what happens too when you get too many corporate entities spoiling the broth. Which is why it's, I think Tom and I love to do comics too. This kind of goes back to what you were just saying. But I think the reason we love to do this is because we can kind of do what we want to do. Right. We're not being told we have to market it this way. We're not being told we have to, that we don't think that material is something that's going to appeal to a wide audience. So, let's backpedal and stick a pin in that, or some other watchword. And if we love it, we go for it. We do it. And some stuff.
Well, if we can get
really
financed,
fast.
we do. It's a fine line. You got to create something that actually people want to see, and we can't go wacky unless we're doing a comic book and I'm financing it myself.
But our stuff is pretty. I mean, we're pretty well informed to start with. We're not just like coming up with bizarre ideas and going, let's do this. No, I mean everything that even comes up as an idea that we're seriously considering has gone through some level of. Is this going to be practical?
Right. And then the upside is, ultimately, through Raw Studios, you own your properties. Mm-hmm. So you're not, it's the old golden rule, he with the gold rules, and you're not being told what to do in most of these cases.
You have to earn it, to get to that place. You got to work for the man until you've kind of carved out your own niche, and then you can actually earn a piece. It's something that's very hard to do, especially in Hollywood, but we'll get there. By creating stuff that's unique and creating stuff that's quality that people actually want to see, we'll get to the place where we can own a piece of our material, in the film world, and then we'll have be granted a little bit more autonomy from each project that we do, and that really is the goal. It's why we created Raw Studios, so we can give ourselves the autonomy to create something that's unique. Those are the guys that have always inspired me.
And put our stamp on it. I mean, everything's whether we're drawing it or not, or we're writing it or not. In the development stage and that kind of nurturing stage, and the material that we choose to begin with is kind of, in our wheelhouse of this fits our sensibilities. This is the right kind of a thing, and when it sees life, it should feel like something that is uniquely, Tom and I, as well as whoever may be working on the book. So,
right. Does that mean that all properties will have all Raw Studio properties will have a Raw Studio look to them? Will I be able to read a book or download a video or go to the theater and say, oh, totally, this is This is a Raw Studio piece because of the creative
I don't know
influences
if it
that
has
you guys...
that John Carpenter kind of signature kind of, how
Not yet, but 10 years from now?
it's possible.
Yeah,
Anything's possible, but
It would be nice. It would be nice to create something that was uniquely, stamped. What's most important to us right now is creating, is casting the right people in the right jobs, the right artists and the right writers. So
let's serve the material.
Yeah, that serves the material. It's interesting to create something like the Coen Brothers, where you just feels like a Coen Brothers film. But in a way, I'd like to be a little bit more expansive than that and create different genres that actually have their own feeling. And I love what you're saying. I would love to create something where the lights went down and the movie came up and it was stamped as a Raw Studios thing, and you got that signature style like a Sergio Leone picture. But our taste with Alien Pig Farm, we cast an artist that was perfect to tell a kind of comedic science fiction alien invasion, aliens versus pig farmer movie. And that's going to be totally different than Dark Country when we hired Thomas Odd, and he created this wonderful noir scratchboard style, or James Daly and Tim Bradstreet, who did Bad Planet, and that's got a realistic comic book feeling to it. That's like a modern day EC comic book. These things.
Or Sean O'Connor on The Lycan, which is a completely different, again, period, illustrative, unlike anything else we've done. So.
Right. Yeah, and that's more like a Franklin Booth kind of a very woodcut, old-fashioned kind of style.
Joseph Clement
The
Cole.
movie takes place. Yeah, Clement Cole. The movie takes place. I mean, the film, the comic book, and this is actually one that I do want to turn into a film. It takes place in the late 1700s. So the style, how you choose, it's sort of like picking a cinematographer. And it's sort of that all influences the way something can look. I'm hoping that the unifying quality of our work is quality.
Yeah.
The unifying, iconic sort of bow that ties everything together is simply, that it's intelligent and done with passion and love and quality.
And yet still serves a niche audience. We're not trying to be...
Exactly. Yeah, you'll always find something that's a little unique in our stuff. That's the material that we look for, and that'll certainly stamp us.
But that's also how you find, like nothing that like Easy Rider, when it kind of changed the face of Hollywood, was just a little $100,000 movie, and it proved that no matter what it is, if it's the right timing and it's the right kind of stuff and it hits society in the right way,
Yeah.
You can change things like that. In today's Hollywood, it's so hard to do that because there is such a, it's all about opening weekend. It's all about big tentpole, $200 million budgeted films.
But we got no problem with being commercially successful.
But if we just keep doing, what we're doing,
But without dismissing your allegiance
Exactly.
to the core audience that you're trying to serve, that gets what the stories you're trying to tell, right?
Yeah, and we
Something
have
will hit.
created an audience, and they do, they do expect a certain
very
kind
loyal
of
audience.
stuff from us, and we're really excited about that. We're revamping our website. I think that comes out in a couple of weeks or so. So that'll be fun.
So what's the website?
It's rawstudios.com, and you can come join our forums and check
Yes.
us out. We give
Still do the
updates
same
on all our
thing.
different stuff, and we have a really terrific forum on there, especially the comics and film forum. There's a great discussion on alternative movies and stuff that you maybe haven't seen. You should check it out to get some ideas about some great movies that aren't mainstream, and that's Raw Studios all the way.
What comics / graphic novels / TV film? Are there other media where you have stories that you want to tell?
Well, Raw Studios put out a record.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we put it out this year. It's by a guy named Rusty Blades.
And I guess I've reached my end. done with talking, moonlight walking, and pretending you were my friend.
YouTube Rusty Blades, or our Raw Entertainment YouTube channel. We just started a YouTube channel. Oh, and you got to check out our $6 Billion Man teaser trailer that we put up on there.
It's fun.
Yeah, I think our YouTube channel is called The Raw Entertainment. Or you can just Google $6 Billion Man Rip-O-Matic.
Yeah, if you
But
just-
you're the geek, the fan, the sci-fi fans will love the $6 Billion Man.
You're still here, but I know you're going, and I hate that.
I'll call you, baby. What have you done to me?
Looks good, Clyde, right down the middle.
Tango, where are you guys at?
Roger that.
Oh! That view is tremendous.
Cali, we're rolling through the notch.
Whoa. Hey.
Roger, Cali, I'll give him a little time there. Caution, caution. Eject! Flight calm, I can't hold it, she's breaking up. Caution, caution.
I took 30 different films and TV shows and videos and commercials, and I created a story around the $6 Billion Man. So then that's, in the commercial business, they call that a rip-o-matic. When you have a vision of something that you want to do, so you'll borrow from all these different movies and mediums and put something together, and you can actually tell a story that way. It's really fun.
And then you also had the Dirty Laundry property that you did a little while ago. That was a big fan favorite.
Right. Well, we helped produce it along with a guy named Adi Shankar, and that was very much a Raw Studios project.
Mm-hmm.
We're very proud of that. That was just a fun little thing that we put together on a weekend. And Phil Joannou was just one of my heroes. He was a director, and he agreed to do it. And a guy named Chad St. John, who's a good buddy of mine and a great writer, he agreed to do it. Tim agreed to design the skull and get involved.
That project was like, Tom had these boards up. I think you still probably have them somewhere, but it looked like little index cards all over the place. And I walked in here one afternoon and I saw untitled, thing, and I was like, "What's that?" And he said, "Well, I want to do this thing." And we've been kind of being very vague, but it was something that I thought, well, if this happens in the next, because he told me what his plan was, which was basically what ended up happening. There were no names attached yet because we didn't know who was going to work on it. But I remember thinking, if this happens in the next 2 months, it's going to happen. That something's going to go on.
Yeah.
If it's longer than that, this thing will probably never get done. And just out of the blue one day, Tom calls me and he says, "Hey, I got Phil Joannou, wants to do this thing," and I was like, "You're kidding me," because I'm a huge fan of Phil's. I State of Grace is like one of those films that never leaves my,
I thought you were going to say 3 O'Clock High.
3 O'Clock High is right in there too.
It's a great movie.
That's where we all discovered Richard Tyson, and it wasn't Two Moon Junction for me. Okay, it was 3 O'Clock High, but yeah, it just kind of like flowered. It just kind of blossomed.
Came together quickly.
And,
The idea behind that was to do it as a surprise. That was the big. That was the big sort of plan behind putting together a Punisher short film. Is could we create this thing without anybody knowing what it was and drop it on people completely unexpected. Tim made up some cards that we passed the film, and we actually shot the damn thing. All the crew, we asked them all to keep it under their hats.
It's unbelievable.
Some of
that
them
it
didn't
gets
even
sprung.
know what we were actually making, but the guys who did, they all incredibly didn't talk about it.
It would have been so tempting to just,
So yeah, you know what?
yeah, Tom Jane's working on a Really, you know, because it would have just got immediate attention, but no one.
The idea that we
screwed
were
up.
able to drop that, you know, as a surprise at Comic-Con was really special. It was, and that was the plan. I'm glad it worked out.
Nothing makes a difference. The whole world is burning down, my friend. At least I got me a front row seat for it. $1.50 for the Yoo-hoo.
Bottle of Jack.
Get him on the wall! Say yes or I'll cut your fucking throat, kid! Come on, kid, say yes! All you gotta do is say yes! You got a choice! Out of my way! Or this way! Come on now, kid! You say yes, all you gotta do is say yes! We got a motherfucking problem up in here!
Now, I think I read or heard through the grapevine that the earliest, the impetus for this was that you just loved that character. Of all your characters, that was perhaps the one.
Well, I have a special soft place in my heart for Frank. Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Well, it was that itch he couldn't scratch, you know, and he puts it in those terms too. And Frank's been haunting Tom since the first film wrapped, and you know, it was such a it was a real killer when he had to turn down Warzone. I mean, it really people don't realize, but I mean, he fought tooth and nail. He brought Walter Hill in. Nah, we're not interested. He went so far with that, and I talked to him every night around that time, and you know, and at one point it became obvious that he was going to have to divest because they were just trying to railroad this project out that was so.
No, they were trying to get it out too fast, and they couldn't quite come up with the right concept on it. So we failed. We railed the walls and failed to get the point across. But you know, it was also something that the experience of making a comic book movie is so. It's with the internet age, you're so overwhelmingly inundated with everybody's fanboy feedback, and I think Tarantino said it's impossible to make a comic book film. You can never satisfy the fanboy crowd.
It's too fickle.
Yeah. And you know, and that actually, you know, people try not to be affected by that, but they are. You know, and in fact, you know, I think sometimes way too much. And so it's this balance between sort of figuring out what is real about the character and what people love about it, but also, you know, not taking every motherfucking suggestion under the sun. That's because everybody's got a different idea.
Stick
about
90
who this
characters
guy is.
in the movie, and just it becomes a mess. And you know,
So doing it doing it outside of that convention where you're making something and you don't have the scrutiny of the community on your back, and you're dropping it on them as a complete surprise. No, so you're not waiting a year and a half for this thing to come out and the build-up.
Yeah.
It's just suddenly, and that was my, you know, I really wanted to do
used
that
to
with
be.
a film. You know,
Yeah.
if we had a Punisher film or a comic book movie, I'd love to change all the names, and nobody would even know that we were making that film. Edit it all together, get it all going, and then suddenly, you know, at the trailer in front of the new Iron Man movie, you saw a Punisher trailer, and everybody would just, what the hell? You know, just
Where did this come
out of
from?
left field.
If they went back to the, we used to have shorts before you would see your film, and if they would, you know, do that in the studio.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be awesome.
Well,
So-
you know, the amazing thing
Little
too,
short film.
just to quickly follow up, is that that fickle fan base that was united suddenly when Dirty Laundry fell on the mat. Yeah. There it was, Sunday night, Comic-Con, and we showed it, and then it hit YouTube. What, next night or that night, or we showed it Saturday.
On Monday.
Sunday night we
hit
went
on
up.
No, it hit on Monday morning.
And yeah, early Monday morning, and I think the ratio of dislikes to likes is something like 1%, if that.
Absolutely.
Universally embraced. Yeah. So how do you make a Punisher movie? Well,
Don't tell me.
give us a little rope.
Don't tell us it.
Let us do what we do, man.
Yeah.
You know.
You also in this new day and age, and keeping your finger on the pulse of the things that are available to the indie filmmaker, you utilize the Kickstarter program.
Yeah.
You tried that adventure,
Yeah,
as do so many.
Learned a lot.
You learned a lot. Tell me just a little bit about that experience for you, and how you kind of...
Red Fly came to us and they wanted to make a Bad Planet video game, which would be fantastic, and we launched the Kickstarter campaign, and we've totally failed. I mean, I think we raised like 30 grand, or not even that, right?
No, we almost made 50.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think we saw today it was like 46,000 or something.
So I think we're going to try to relaunch.
Which for most indie wannabes that are trying to create their thing and using Kickstarter, that was like they could have done 4 features for that kind of money. But you guys had a...
Well, a video game is not cheap. You can't make a video game for 50 grand. Right. So.
Yeah, and we couldn't ask for less than and hope for more.
Right.
Because we can't promise anything we can't deliver. Right. Yeah. It's just not going to. There's no way we're ever going to compromise ourselves that way. It was a high ask. It's a property that not a lot of people are familiar with. We learned a lot. Tom and I, we want to get together and we sit down and make a comprehensive story trailer for what the story of Bad Planet is, so that people know who these characters are. Something that in 3 minutes explains Bad Planet, so that they can go, oh, that's what it is.
People and sort of sell them on it. Yeah, we learned a lot, and I think we're going to relaunch it. And we're gonna keep at it. You know,
got a website under.
A Bad Planet video game would be really, really fun, and I think it would be worth all the sweat and trying to get it off the ground.
Well, we know it's going to happen too. I mean, Red Fly has basically said there's no way we're not going to do this game. So come hell or high water, we'll figure it out.
I can't thank you guys enough for all this insight into what your existence is with Raw Studios and the lessons you've learned. There are so many creative right brains out there who are just dying to get to where you guys are.
Well, you really just got the underbelly.
The
real stuff, the real good stuff is the really glamorous stuff.
Let me ask the last question then, and that will be, as you gaze into that crystal ball, where will Raw Studios be in 2022? 10 years from now. Where are you guys going to be? When I come back here to do the follow-up interview with you a decade from now, when they wheel my ass in here to do the 2012 interview, what's it going to be like? What are we going to be talking about? What will you guys have accomplished?
I hope that we can, take a big step with this Western. Tom, as a director on this project, has taken a big A-list step forward, and that can open the door for us in a huge way if it hits in any kind of positive way. And can open the door for us, following up with other properties and other things that we have. So I would hope in 10 years we have been able to build enough clout to make a great science fiction film, where we're not worried about, we don't have the money for this or that, or of course that'll always be a concern, but being able to not be stepped on by the fact that something like Bad Planet is impossible to finance. Hopefully, there'll be a will and a way, whether it's through something like Kickstarter 10 years from now or whatever, but we've come up with a thing that we know we want to make, and it's going to be the great science fiction piece. That answer to what Alien did to us in 1979.
No, I'm working on that right now. I'm actually starting to work on the script. It's not Bad Planet, but it's another sci-fi piece that I think will be kind of mind-blowing.
Would that be good for 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I think we're going to have our own studio.
That'd be great.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really the goal, that we have. Yeah, that we had not too big, but we have our own studio where it's self-sufficient, and we can't be too big. We can't be putting out 30 movies a year or anything. But a studio where we put out 1 or 2 films or 1 or 2 products every year and a half, really 2 years is the way we work. It'll be every other year we'll put something out. That would be great. That's the goal.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's true of.
Thank you, Frank.
That's definitely a film would be we want to be making that film, but I think
either that or be living in Milwaukee as a milkman.
I want to be taken, you know, like what I'd like to do is like everybody keeps asking me, where's Red Sky Diary? Where's Red Sky Diary?
Well, that'd be
And
brilliant.
The answer to that is that I have to pay my bills, so I can't spend a lot of time working on this project behind the scenes and not getting paid for it. So perhaps, you know, one of these crowdfunding things can allow me to finance something, take a year off, and actually do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I can actually do that. You know, if you raised enough money, you could do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Problem
think
is I just don't know if the audience is out there, you know, like that knows about it.
the audience will be out there waiting to see it because they'll be wanting to see whatever it is that we do next. But if Tim and I can, we're making a living at Raw Studios, and you know, and we could basically kind of quit our day jobs, that would be fantastic.
That would be the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Awesome. From Hollywood, it's Jeffrey, Tom, Tim, Slice of SciFi.
SliceofSciFi.com.